What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV. Back with another live stream. Good friend of mine in the building. And you know what? Aubameyang's turning up late, so we thought we'd turn up late today. What's happening, Fred?
Yeah, listen, that's how we're moving today. A couple of people said Yardy time, and it's Christmas time. We'll take our time. We're going Aubameyang style today. Aubameyang.
You know what I mean? Swag settings, man. How you been anyway, Fred? Obviously, I know, you've had stuff going off with the family and that. How is everything?
Yeah, it's all good. You know, like I said, I took a couple of days out, and then during those couple of days, family got hit by you know what. But, you know, the amount of messages I got from the community and that was big respect. And then we jumped on yesterday and that. So, yeah, we're moving nicely. We're moving.
That's it, man. Onwards and upwards we go, 2022. Don't forget, Fran's link is in the description. I think now, because you've got to a certain amount of subscribers, it lets you put it in there now. So you can just click on that. Doesn't even take you away from the show. Subscribe, get straight back over.
I'm in the big league now. I'm in the big league, yeah?
now, man. Your name's highlighted now, you know what I mean? Man said Super Malt Pep.
Yo, I love the Super Malt, you know. Super Malt Pep.
Do you know what? It's an unpopular opinion. You know, people expect you as a black man or whatever. Oh, you must love Super Malt. I can't stand Super Malt. I really don't like it.
It's one of those, you know, if you go yard shop and you want to act a little bit more yardy, you'll buy it. And you don't even like it.
You'll down it and just be like, yeah, man, this is nice. But yeah, oh, man.
It's like straight rum. Yeah. I'm all right. I'm not on fire. And you turn around and you're on fire, mate.
Yeah. Man gives you that Ray and Nephews. Your chest is caving in, you know what I mean? It's all bad.
You've got hairs coming off your chest.
Yeah, but listen, obviously, Arsenal. I mean, at the start of the season, do you know what? I got some paperwork out because me and you, we did the prediction show, didn't we, at the start of the season?
You still got it? Wow, go on then.
Still got it, mate. So your top four prediction was, in order, was Man City first, Chelsea second, Liverpool third, United fourth.
Right.
And you had Arsenal finishing ninth.
Yeah.
Right. I had
I'm going to get hammered now.
I had Liverpool winning it, City second, Chelsea third, United fourth. I had Arsenal finishing seventh.
Right.
So at this stage of the season, you know, we got to be reasonably happy, aren't we? Fourth in the league, cup semi-final, onwards and upwards.
Well, listen, I don't think anyone can complain, can they? I don't think no one, let's be honest, very a minority of people would be saying, listen, Arsenal fourth, cup competitions riding nice. Yeah. You know, good camaraderie in the camp. There ain't many people, I think, that would be turning around. Of course, there's going to be some that would be saying that's where we'd be at. So, listen, we're ahead of my expectations at the moment, and you know, we can't complain. At the end of the day, you can't complain if we're ahead of expectations.
Yeah, man. Yeah, apologies, man. Some people saying there's a bit of an echo. I don't know what it is. When it's like now, when I bring someone on.
Yeah.
Sometimes it echoes. I don't know if it's my mic or yours or.
Is it echo settings in the back end?
Yeah, it might be. I don't know, but we'll make it work, people. We'll do what we can. Big up to everyone in the chat, anyway. But so yeah, I mean, what do you make of? You know, we haven't really spoken about the Aubameyang situation. So obviously, you know, we've both played, both had issues with certain managers. You know, both been strikers as well. So we understand the situation fully. You know, I always tell that story about Tuesday night, you know, Mansfield against Macclesfield. I'm like, right, Fran's playing, you know, and I turn up and Fran's jogging around the pitch. You know, he's on the naughty step because the move hasn't happened. So we understand what's going off. And as I said, with me, man, they had me training with the kids. I was blasting balls into the car park. So,
oh, mate, yeah. Two-footing youth players and all sorts.
Yeah, two-footing kids, man. You know what I mean? You got to do what you got to do, man. But what do you make of the Aubameyang situation? And do you agree with the way they've handled it? And where do you think the blame more lays with? You know, he's training by himself. Apparently, he's not even training with the youth team. What do you make of the whole situation?
I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? We've been in that situation before. Now, let's start off with the main thing. Arteta is correct for taking the captaincy away from him. I think everyone should, well, not should, but I think most people would agree on that. it's been a numerous times where he's showing lack of respect and lack of leadership by, his timekeeping and all that kind of stuff, which is a cultural thing. As we know, it's very, very much a cultural thing, but it's not allowed in the workplace. You do get disciplined. However, the way it's been dealt with the press, I do believe that this is a method to ease him out of the squad, because we've been there before. There's always a method behind the madness, and he is not a part of what Arteta wants to do. He has to play him, and he's in and around, and he has to give him the opportunity because it will come from the hierarchy. He's on this amount of money. He needs to play. We ain't got no one else to score goals, so Aubameyang needs to play.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think Arteta has set it up to kind of throw him under the bus, because he's gave him numerous chances. It's just got to the point where he said, listen, he's taking the mickey out of me. What do I do with this player? He's taking the mickey. He's undermining me. He's making me look like a bit of a mug. Yeah. What do we do with him? And I think if he can get out, I think he'll get out. I think if he can get out in January, as sad as it is, it's best for all parties, because it doesn't matter if he stays. He's not a part of what Arteta wants to do. You can clearly see that. So why keep him around? I'm not keeping a woman around if she ain't part of what I need to do. Simple. So I think that's the thing with Arteta. I think whether you're Arteta's side or whether you're not, one thing you can agree with is Aubameyang has done wrong. I don't agree with the way that it's been. Everyone's kind of turning against him and making him feel. It's not very nice. It's on the borderline of bullying at times if it goes a little bit too further. Training on his own and things like that. That's what makes me think, has he done anything more? Because you've trained on your own, I trained on my own, and it was because we were straight thugging out. Like, I don't know if Aubameyang, we don't know the ins and outs, but so to train on his own is a little bit harsh, but I think he's done at Arsenal. I do. I think he's done. Even if he gets back in the squad, is he gonna show any respect? Are we gonna get another 10-15% if he's not feeling the way he's been treated? We've seen what happened with Ozil. As soon as we mistreated him, that was it. He was done. Yeah. So I think it might be one of them where we have to move on. As mad as that sounds.
I mean, Fran, just to put it in perspective, I mean, PSG are being linked with him today.
Yeah.
Apparently, they want him on loan for 6 months because Neymar's having a lot of injuries. I mean, would you let Aubameyang go on loan with an option to buy, which doesn't, if he goes to PSG, doesn't light it up, they could say, hey, I'll have him back in the summer. You're back to square one. How would you try and move him on?
I know you're not a fan of that. You mentioned numerous times. You're not a fan of this loan, and then they have a decision at the end of it. Because if he gets injured, or anything whatsoever, or he has a bad 5 games, and the fans don't like him, and he can't hit a barn door or whatever, all of a sudden, would he have been better in and around our squad? I'm not too sure. I don't think we can have that clause in a contract with a player like Aubameyang. You can say, listen, you can take him for 6 months. You can pay all his wages. If not, we'll pay half the wages, but PSG have got the P's. Yeah. And then at the end of it, you've got to buy him for this amount of money. We understand, listen, he's only got 12 months left or whatever it may be after that. I know he's 33. This is the fee that we want. Job done. And then it's up to them to negotiate. But we can't be having a player like Aubameyang going on loan with an option to buy. That's scraping the barrel settings. We can't have that. No. But listen, this is Arsenal, mate. We got rid of Guendouzi for, same price as a League 2 midfielder. So there's no way we're gonna. I just don't know who's gonna dealing with these negotiations. But I do think that all parties will be working to try and get him out. I got to be honest.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I get the impression, the way Aubameyang is and the way he comes across, I don't think he'll just take that from Arteta and kind of keep it moving. He's going to say, this guy, I don't want to play for him. Get me out.
This man's drives around in a gold Lamborghini. Yeah. So he's not going to be one of those types of people that just says, oh, okay, thanks for humiliating me. Thanks for making me look like an idiot in the media. Thanks for making all the fans turn on me after I've been a legend for 2.5 years or whatever it may be. Yeah. And now all of a sudden we're going to have a decent conversation and I'm going to run around for you. Nah. Yeah. Nah, he's not. He's not about that life. So, yeah. Listen, I also don't think that. I also got to a little bit towards Arteta, which at times pains me. However, he has to go about his business in a certain way. He's a manager of a football club. So he has to, because you've been in changing rooms where you've been more powerful than the manager.
Yeah.
And the
yeah.
manager ain't having it. The manager
not on
is
it.
not, he will do anything to kind of ruin your reputation. Behind closed doors, leak stories on the sly, brown envelopes, all kinds of stuff, because you're more powerful than him in the changing rooms. And Arteta seems like he has tried to get the best out of Aubameyang. He's trusted him for long enough, just not seemed to have worked out. So as much as we don't really like the way Arteta deals with stuff, the dictatorship and the person not be able to deal with big personalities, we can't turn around and say Aubameyang's not had the opportunity to maybe change the way that he behaves around the football club. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. Just quickly, obviously, I don't want to bang on about it too much. When you look at, I mean, Snake Eyes saying here, Willian went to Dubai when he shouldn't have been traveling to, promote his restaurant. He was in the squad that weekend. Xhaka has had problems, sent off numerous times, still gets reintegrated into the squad. Do you think Aubameyang should have, okay, armband's gone, you miss a couple games, but it seems like the door's been closed. It doesn't seem like there's a way back for him. And that's where I'm a bit like, do you think that's because of the wages and the fact he was so influential that he feels he needs to go?
Definitely, he's a bigger personality in the team. Is the club's highest earner, and he's the captain. However, as much as Xhaka is Xhaka, I think if Xhaka sits down with Arteta and they have a meeting, they both come out of the meeting fairly happy. I think Willian's at the stage of his career, you know what, it is what it is. I'm not bothered. They both come out of the meeting kind of happy.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case with Aubameyang. I think Aubameyang has this meeting with Arteta. My mum, family first. I was late, didn't understand the protocol. Then Arteta turns round. This is so many times. You're supposed to be the captain. All of a sudden, the meeting has not gone the same way as a Willian or a Xhaka meeting, and then then it's completely different. I think that's what it is. It's just the personnel involved and how they are in the meeting. I think that's what I would, that's what I would take from it, to be honest.
Yeah. Anne's big up with the super chat said, if Aubameyang has been forced to train with the 23s, I can already imagine him doing a Curtis Shaw and booting the ball away and training big up. I mean, listen, a man with, like you said, a man with a gold Lambo, he ain't training with the under 18s,
mate. It's humiliating, isn't it? It's like,
yeah, of course,
it's humiliating. He's a big fish. This guy's like, he's got the freedom of his country and that. This guy's a big fish. So things have to be dealt. It's like it's like with your kids, right? They all have to be dealt with in completely different ways, and that's the same with football or man management. They have to be dealt with in very different ways based on their personality. But it's sad to see. However, Arsenal at the minute are going all right. If Arsenal were not going all right, this story would be completely different. Completely different.
100%.
100%.
100%. I mean, we had a bit of, well, not a convo, but something came up yesterday, obviously with this Carabao Cup draw and so on and so forth. This is Arsenal's new year. We're on a good run at the moment, but, Man City, Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, Liverpool and Spurs, 5 games in a row, AFCON during that time as well. So that'll be Noah Aubameyang, Partey, El Neni and Pepe. I suppose since Aubameyang's been dropped, we've won all the games, we've had a decent run. If things go different, all of a sudden those questions are a little bit more, well, hang on, you didn't score today against Man City, but Aubameyang wasn't in the squad, and that pressure kind of goes a different way. So do you think that situation may change if this run doesn't go well?
I think, again, it depends on this, whether you're an Arteta fan or not, because I've seen a lot on Twitter at the moment. People are saying, listen, Partey bang out of form, Aubameyang not involved, Pepe never plays. So if they go to the AFCON and we don't do well, then all of a sudden there's going to be excuses, and they can't be, because they're not playing in the squad anyway. They're not doing well anyway. So it's going to be interesting what happens, Jan. We always say things turn very, very quickly in football. You know,
Yeah.
they always say
Yeah.
a week's a long time in football. 1 week you're not playing, next week you're a superstar. And that's the same with results. Now,
Yeah.
you know, the cup game, they're going to play their reserves, their kids, probably. They're no mugs. We've seen what happened with Leicester.
Yeah,
Forest shouldn't cause any problems. But if we play a weakened team against Forest, they're going to be better than a Sunderland.
Yeah.
And Spurs, we've seen Spurs all of a sudden now, they've got the Conte gear. They're steadily just nicking results. They're hard to beat. You know, Kane's looks a little bit more enthusiastic, so Son looks a little bit sharper. The Conte effect. So at the end of the day, with Arteta, he can't be having any more wait for this, wait for that, because that's always seems. He's got his team now. Certain players may be firing, certain players not, but you know, he needs to get some results out of those games to start to really convince people. Because, you know, a lot of people are still on the fence.
Broads is just slandering our age here. Man said we're the best front two in Masters football.
Yo, you know what people forget? People forget that everyone does get older and bolder and greyer.
Hey, I'll take it, man. If I can still do it in Masters in the 30s, I'll take it.
Masters.
Keep it moving. Big up Broads, man. Anthony with a super chat said, why didn't Aubameyang ever have any problems with Wenger or Emery? Why under Arteta have Ozil and Aubameyang's Arsenal careers ended? Power play settings. I mean, does he have a point there, or is it coincidental? I don't know. What do you think about that?
Again, I think the personality clash. It's a manager can change. I'll use Mace for example. Holgate at Everton. Ancelotti, one of the best managers in the world. Absolutely loved him. Played all the time. Benitez comes in, doesn't like him basically, and all of a sudden it just changes like that. So each manager will have a way of dealing with certain players, and if that player responds to that manager, then he becomes one of his players. If he doesn't, there's a standoff. 9 times out of 10, the player normally loses unless the manager gets the sack. But listen, there's this pattern with players with a little bit of substance, players with a little bit of swag, a little bit of personality are not particularly good with Arteta, and vice versa. I don't think Arteta mentions this thing quite a lot about cultural differences. I'm not sure whether that's just a word of saying, boy, I don't understand black people. I don't know what it means. You know, I understand what it means, but you know, there's a way of saying it. Cultural differences and things like that. I get it. That's for every culture, but surely when it comes to sport, it's rubber stamped. You know what I mean? If you're late, you're late. If you don't do the business, you don't play. I can't see as much cultural difference in that, to be honest. But that's another story. Another story. So I just think it's down to, again, managers getting on with players and vice versa. But it's no coincidence that anyone with a little bit of sauce, anyone with a little bit of attitude or fire in the belly, Arteta doesn't seem to want around.
Yeah.
Which for me, when we get to the point of we need winners and desires and people in your face and lean a little bit nasty, we don't have that.
We're a bit nice.
He wants to be the guy on the touchline doing all this stuff, rather than letting the players maybe land one on someone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we miss that. We miss people with a bit of nuts.
Is it also that thing as well? Because like Wenger, if Wenger's got an Aubameyang and he's, the gold Lambo and all of that, which he knows how to deal with that, because he's had Nicolas and Elka, he's had Thierry Henry, he's had big personalities, Tony Adams, who was dealing with things as well. Arteta's probably saying, I've never dealt with an Aubameyang. I don't know how to deal with that kind of personality. So I kind of get the impression that when Arteta feels he's got a bit of a problem, it's like his reaction is, get him away from me. Guendouzi became a bit of a problem, get rid of him. Ozil, get rid of him. Aubameyang, get him out. You know what I mean? And it seems where I feel like a more experienced manager would go, actually, Guendouzi's 19, he's in the French squad, he's got bags of talent. If I can kind of shape him and mold him into the right player, he could be a top player. So do you think it's the inexperience?
Well, one, it's definitely understanding different cultures and different people and the way that they come across. I mean, I've always said like managers should have psychology degrees, should know about man management, mindset, etc. Subconscious. You talk there about instantly just saying I don't want nothing to do with them,
Yeah,
rather than him, thinking, wait a minute, let me try and understand this individual because he's going to benefit me. He's going to make my job easier. He's going to make me a better coach. And I just think it's that subconscious mindset that we all do when we say things and then we quickly think, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But if you're not aware of that, you just keep doing the same thing. You just keep doing the same thing and the same thing. And a lot of people say, is he racist? The Spanish connection and its cultural difference and we have this and that. Listen, we see it in the NFL and we've seen it in football. You've seen it. When a black lad signs, is he quick? Put him on the wing. That's a subconscious racist decision, and there is still people that still do that. How many black centre midfielders did you used to see? Very rare, because they used to say
it's a thinking position.
It's a thinking position.
Yeah,
and black people, it's a subconscious decision. And black athletes, they need to go in non-thinking positions. That's a deep core belief that people have from a very, very young age. So unless he's aware of his thinking, you're always going to have this problem. But people are never going to turn around and say, by the way, I didn't pick him because of this, or I didn't pick him because of that. Yeah, and it's a very hard thing to prove. You would have gone through it. It's a very hard thing to prove. So I just think with experience, Arteta will start to understand when a guy comes up with, one trouser leg. We used to get off the team coach, one trouser leg rolled up, white socks with sliders, a little Louis Vuitton wash bag, fake at the time, and the manager would be like, look at these two wide boys. And instantly he's thinking, how can these two play football today? But it don't matter what we turn up like, so it's a subconscious thing and that managers get wrong. And unfortunately, you're dealing with young millionaires who like to be flash. Do you know what I mean?
It's true. Do you know what, Fran? And in fact, let me just read this super chat. I just work here, said, you're right, Fran. I'm thinking that he would have an issue with Vlahovic too if he came in. I mean, listen, just for a start, no one's accusing Arteta of it. We're just saying these things occur in football. Like the other day, I heard Danny Mills. He was talking about Pogba and he's going, Pogba with his silly haircut. And I'm thinking, well, who are you to say that's a silly haircut? But, it's different walks of life. I've been to France. There are a lot of guys there with flash blonde hair and all. You've seen it in players before. So, these kind of subconscious things are still there. The legend of Renegade said, pace and power settings. Pundits always biased towards black players, calling them DMs. I mean, I heard Tim Sherwood say something a few months ago about Kante in midfield, saying, he runs around a lot, but he's not the most intelligent, is he? Like, he was speaking along them same sort of lines that he's just a runner, basically.
Yeah, it's a subconscious thing. It's a subconscious thing in football.
Yeah, big up Craig, who said, Merry Christmas to you and the rest of the Shaw family. It's been a privilege to watch your content. Big up Craig, and appreciate your support, bro. Listen, let's move on. We could have a deep show of that. We you know what I mean? If we go too far, we'll be on here for the next 3 hours. You know what I mean? Josh Shaw, big up, bro, said, big up, fellas. Do you think Arteta doesn't have a strong number two who acts as a buffer for the players to go to? I mean, that's a great point, Fran. Sometimes does the strict manager need that easier assistant who you can communicate with?
Well, like you say, his role at City was that he was kind of the middle guy, weren't he? He was kind of like the nice guy, good cop, bad cop. And I'm not sure how this assistant is with Arteta, but I think you always need that. You always need an assistant manager who understands, who doesn't really want to upset no one. And we know the assistant manager is always a snake. We know he's a snake because
tends to be a mate.
He has to be your friend. Then he goes back to the manager and said, well, I heard Fran was out till 4 a.m. last night. I don't think he should be playing. And then how do you find that out? And you know who it is, but definitely works. It definitely works. One thing I would say, Arteta seems to have a very, very good relationship with the young players.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he wants this young youth project to work, because he understands that he can it's wrong for me to. He can manipulate and can control young players because they're
Easily,
in a
yeah.
different mold to the older players. And if
Yeah.
we get results, then listen, we get results. It's as simple as every manager has a very, very different way of dealing with it. You know, Mourinho's a straight bully out here. You either get on with it or you don't. So everyone's very different in the way that they do things. And if they get results, we can't really moan. But it's a very good point. You definitely do need that. It's like the cool teacher at school, innit?
Yeah.
You can kind of trust them, and I think you need a laid back kind of cool assistant. Yeah.
Yeah, man. King Sayat Gambian Goona said, when Aubameyang was winning Golden Boots, FA Cup, Charity Shield, having a relationship with fans, nobody was talking about fashion and Lambos. Now everyone wants the Tesco bag as captain. Is it something else behind it? And this is what I was kind of getting at without getting too deep into it. My thinking was, okay, Jacques has done way worse, in my opinion. Told fans to F off. It didn't happen under Arteta's watch.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. 50 yellow cards since he's been at the club, spent the whole summer twerking for Mourinho.
Yeah.
Yet he's in the team and kind of is forgotten about. Oh, yeah, Xhaka's just there. We get on with it. Aubameyang, okay, he's turned up late. I get it. It's wrong as a captain. Punish him. But the feeling feels very much like get rid of him. He's a disgrace. You know, there's no way back for him. And I'm like, why are the judgments so different for different players? You know, when you look at Aubameyang, I think he's done way more than Jack has done for Arsenal.
I think again it's down to the personnel, and we must remember, regardless whether we agree with it or not, that race is looked at in many, many different ways by many, many different people. The fact of the matter is, if someone does something wrong, everyone should be punished the same. We know over history that's not going to be the case. And a lot of it is subconscious. And that's why you can never really say the race card, because there's never no evidence or never no facts to an individual's thinking process or belief system. It's a subconscious mindset and things. Like you say, it doesn't matter if someone has gold cars, gold hair, blue hair. But even I've done it at times. Even I've said, God, let's look at Pogba. He's had a worse performance than his blue hair. You know, I'll say those things and I'll quickly say, wait a minute, Fran. Why have you just done exactly what you say other people do and you've gone straight to his hair? It doesn't matter. But it's a thing that we do get caught up in. But there'll always be an argument at the end of the day when people do things wrong. They should always be punished to whatever level. You just want consistency. What Xhaka did is way worse than what Aubameyang's done. Way worse. But then you go back, how was Xhaka's response towards the manager? That's the key. I do believe Aubameyang's response was probably, no. You're not doing that to me. I'm a big dog. And that's where the problem is. So it already, and if you do it to Pogba's response would be exactly the same. I imagine Arteta may have had a conversation with Guendouzi, and Guendouzi might have said, "Bun this," kicked the door, and left. So it's the individual's response. As much as we say about Arteta, I imagine it is the individual's response towards Arteta. Because Arteta's younger than me. He seems very naive. All you got to do is say the right things to Arteta, and he's going to say, okay, no problem, you're playing. You know what I mean? He's like, you know what I mean? I think the players, whereas some of them are saying, I'm not in it. But it's a minefield in the workplace when it comes to things like that. It's a minefield.
Yeah. And even yesterday, obviously, he did a press conference and he was lauding Eddie and Nketiah. Oh, this boy, the way he trains every day, his attitude, this, that, the other. And I'm like, okay, I get it. As a manager, you want your players to really put it in training. But we all know, we've all seen it. Sometimes your best players don't train that well. Sometimes that motivation for training every day is not quite the same. You get through it. You know, I see many times John Obi Mikel said Hazard was the worst trainer on a match day, best player. Even Frank Rijkaard said Ronaldinho just did the bare minimum every training session. You just kept him fit. Well, are you going to drop them guys? Because Nketiah, he trains well, but is he good enough? I don't think he is.
What it does, when you play well, when you train well, it does give the manager a little. Kind of plants a seed in his head
Yeah,
in case he needs someone else. So me and you are both at a football club, and I'm training my nuts off, and you're bowling in late, and you're chilling. When it comes to a Saturday and they go and have a meeting, right? Listen, we're injury down. Who are we going to call up? Are we going to call Kurt up or are we going to call Fran? The first thing they're going to say is, well, Fran's attitude's better.
yeah,
So that helps with training. But the fact of the matter is, does Arteta think he's good enough? It seems that he does. He keeps on offering him deals, and he seems, and only proof will be in the pudding. I don't think he's good enough. But listen, Arteta's the gaffer, Arteta. But the training thing is always a way to convince the manager that if anyone's going to get given opportunity, let it be Eddie and Nketiah. And maybe that's the difference between Eddie and Nketiah and Balogun. Why one
yeah.
gets an opportunity and the other one doesn't. So, yeah, you know what it's like. You got to play the game, man. You got to play the game.
You got to play the game, man. I just work here. Big up with this super chat. Said, facts, Curtis. It's almost as if Pep rubbed off on Arteta. We're seeing the same kind of saga as Pep v Yaya, Pep v Eto. But you're right. We don't know. That Eddie talk from him was nuts. And even reiterated as well that the Aubameyang situation was more than an apology. The guy said to him, oh, if he apologizes, will that kind of settle your differences? And he was like, I'm always open to that, but it's more than that. And I was like, so what more has he got to do than apologize then? So it makes me think there's more to it than just turning up late.
I like you say, we've gone over it. I think it's more down to probably the standoff.
Yeah.
It can only be that. And he might have disrespected him a certain way. It can only be that. And that's why it's kind of not being brushed under the carpet, but they're trying to get him out the door. And he will, listen, does he want to be there? I think, to be honest, I think he probably wants to go.
Yeah, I agree. I think under this manager...
Would he want to stay? Would he want to stay at the minute? He knows he's not a part of the future. So, why not try and get out now?
Now, while we're speaking about future, it was on my green screen yesterday. I took him off because I knew you was coming on. Maybe I should have left him on. But Pepe, obviously, put in a good performance. Now, I know already, Fran's not easy to convince. Yeah, so Fran's going to be saying, League One players, can he do that on Saturday? But listen, like I said, if he'd have played bad, he'd have been getting hammered. So in his defense, he can say, look, man, this is the first time I started in weeks and I turned up. I can only do what I can do. Is there any way for you that Nicolas Pepe turns things around and becomes a success at Arsenal?
You know what? I'm harsh on him. I am harsh because Broads asked me something the other day actually on my stream, and he was saying, Fran, do you think obviously the level that I played at and my experiences kind of dictate the way that I think about modern day players now? And I went, You know what? I've never really thought about that, but I think so, yeah. And when we played, number one requirement was it's just hard work. You got to run through brick walls, and Pepe doesn't do that. So maybe I'm a little bit harsh at the time because talent-wise, listen, I'd love to play five-a-side with him, like ridiculous. Like talent-wise, he's top draw. Just don't think he has the elements and the fundamentals to be a success. I wouldn't even say the English game because I think it depends on what team it is. I just think it's the way Arsenal play. I don't think, it doesn't matter how long he's here for, the way that Arsenal play, it's not going to be good for Pepe. And I think that's the problem. And he has to go away and say, right, how can I be first pick in this team? And I don't think he has that desire. I don't think he has that fight to want to prove Arteta wrong. And forever, you're going to have loads of Pepe fans. You're going to have loads, of course you are, because he's silky. But the fact of the matter is the reason he don't play is because he doesn't have the fundamental basics what Arteta demands from a player. That's the only reason why he's not playing.
I mean, it was interesting. Arteta said that Pepe's been saying he wants more game time. He's been knocking on his door. So from that sense, there is a frustration and a want to play. But I suppose that performance that we saw against Sunderland, we need to see him do that against Liverpool, Man City, United. You know what I mean? He needs to do it in the Premier League, I suppose.
Yeah, it's always hard to do it against. Innit? It's always hard to do it against a Man City, a Chelsea, because you're going to get bopped. It's like when we talk about Ødegaard. Ødegaard's not going to be able to do it against those teams. Neither is Lacazette, neither is Martinelli, because those teams are just better than us. However, you do want them to be consistent against anyone else who's below us or around us. If Pepe could be consistent and produce, listen, his stats are crazy considering we hammer him. His assists and his goals, you would think, wow, but the fact of the matter is that even though he gets these assists, even though he gets these goals, he's still not nowhere near a regular, tells you the basics are missing. And I think it's a little bit harsh because he's very talented. He just needs to be in the right team. And this is not the team for him. It's just not the team for him. And people would say, well, do we make a team for him? But then on the flip side, he ain't a Messi, he ain't a Ronaldo, he ain't a Haaland, he ain't an Mbappe. So you're not going to build the team around Pepe. Just like United are not going to build the team around Pogba. They're not going to do it, So that's the only thing with Pepe. Listen, I would love him because I love a silky player. I love someone who does tricks. I love people that take people on. But without the basics, you're just a flash in the pan. And that's the problem with Pepe. It's a problem.
It's funny, someone just put in the comments there, and I do kind of agree with that. I forget who said it, but someone was saying he's a moments player. There it is. Mo said, Pepe is a moments player. Rarely have I seen him have a great 90 minutes. Yeah. And I've got to be honest, you're not far off there. I've watched him a lot, and I'm like, even against Sunderland the other day,
look at Sunderland.
20, I'm going, boy, man, this ain't looking great. And then he scores, and I'm like, okay, now is he that just moments?
But even if you look at the Sunderland game, without being a bit harsh, was he great? I mean, you take the Megs away and the goal. Did he do much else?
Well, I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because I suppose if you're in there for the goal output,
that's the thing. Like we instantly go, well, wait a minute, Fran. He scored and he set 3 chances up, but for Arteta, that's not what he's kind of looking at, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and that's why I don't think he plays. And it's sad, to be honest, because if you're going on a scouting mission, you're coming back and you're saying, "Sure, I've seen this player in front. I've seen this Pepe. He is balling. We need to get him." Without looking at it, but like you say, a good fact the other day about Bayern didn't sign him because he is counteractive. On the break kind of winger. We don't play that type of football.
No, we don't.
So that's why he don't play.
You put him in a Palace with Zaha and them on the break, he might look like a dream.
He looked like a different player, mate. He looked like a completely different player. Even that Leicester team, whenever when Wes Morgan and everyone was soaking up pressure and Vardy and them lot were on the break, Pepe would be flying in that team.
Yeah.
And we'd be talking about, the Salah settings. But because we don't play that way, he goes missing. And it's just the way it fits. Whether it fits, it happens. Season in, season out, don't it?
Yeah. Roll writes, thank you for the super chat. Said Aubameyang apparently got offers from England. I mean, listen, strikers are, the striker market right now is not very good. It wouldn't surprise me if clubs were looking at him. I think, as you're saying with Pepe, I agree. Because, listen, the thing with Pepe, why I've always kind of backed him a little bit is, when I look at this Arsenal team, I think if every player played 38 games, he would be one of our top goal scorers every season. I think Pepe would get goals.
100%.
10 league goals last year, and he didn't even start most of the games. Yeah. So I think, that guy could probably get you 15, maybe 16, 17 goals if he played every week. It's just, I think Arteta wants the whole system to work a particular way. Saka's going to run through brick walls. ESR, they're all pulling in the same direction, where Pepe's kind of this individual, a bit more flamboyant. Aubameyang to a certain extent as well. Ozil was a little bit like that towards the end. And I just think he's not going to give up something to maybe try and get that output out of you, which other managers do at times. So
Well, that's all it is with Pepe. That's all it is. Like we said, you know me. I've never said this kid is talented, ridiculous. But the reason he don't play is because Arteta doesn't play that way. This is it's very, very simple how football works. You would have signed for a teams, Kurt, right? And the manager don't want to play you. Listen, you know, we've had conversations before when I've been speaking to managers about you. And what have they said? Does he play this way? Does he play that way? I say, well, you know, he's kind of like he's kind of laid back, but he can do a bit. Now, if the manager thinks, well, wait a minute, I don't want a laid back player. I need a grafter. I need a Lee Cattermole. They're gonna go and get a Lee Cattermole. As much as Lee Cattermole can't trap a bag of cement, and you can, they're gonna go for Lee Cattermole. Arteta, the only reason Pepe does not play is because he is not an Arteta type player. That is it. The kid's talented, but it don't matter if you're talented. It's what the manager wants you to do.
No, you're spot on. You're absolutely spot on there. Do you think? Where do you think Pepe would go if he left? What kind of level club do you think he would get?
You see, the thing is, people talk about when you come to the Prem once and it don't work for you. People for some reason say, "Oh well, he's not good enough for the Prem." It's is it Haller, the West Ham?
Oh yeah.
Now he's smashing up the Champions League, which some would say Champions League is a lot harder than the Premier League. It's the elite of the elite. Obviously not every round or whatever. And then some people say, oh, well, you know, he can't do it. Listen, we even said it with Sahar. You know, he went United. He had a little ding-dong with, you know, whatever, Moyes' daughter or whatever it may be. Didn't play. Everyone's saying he's a flop. He can't do it at the big club. When we know Sahar can do it at a big club. So people put this tag on certain players. Would Pepe fit another team? Now, listen, if he ran around a little bit more, Man City would be a dream for him because he would look like $1 billion in that game. He's not going to go to United. He's not going to play at Chelsea. He don't have the energy levels and what Liverpool would ask him to do. And then all of a sudden, you've got all the other teams who don't play the Pepe way.
Yeah.
So can he stay in England? Would he? For me, the obvious one is going to go back to France.
Yeah.
That's the obvious one. But listen, he ain't going. Listen, would he go somewhere at the moment? Would they try and get rid of him? You know, I imagine he's on a big whack.
130 a week he's on.
So he's going to want to get out and he's going to want to play football.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to want to play football, but the big dogs are not going to take him because the first thing they're going to look at, as much as people don't like it, is what we always talk about. Is he going to do the other side of the game? The question is no, because he don't do it for us. That's the problem. Whereas abroad, you might get away with it. It's a lot slower, a lot slower than the Premier League. And technically, it's better. La Liga, for example, PG, any of the foreign leagues would suit Pepe down to the ground. And it's just sad for Pepe, for me, that he is at an Arsenal at the moment. Listen, he plays for Arsenal 10 years ago. This kid is balling.
Can you imagine Wenger with Pepe? Oh my days.
And with Sanchez and all these people on the break, Pepe would be, there'd be statues in that. But he's just come to Arsenal at the time where his style of play is not the style of play for Arsenal. That's a sad thing. That's a sad thing.
Joshua, big up with a super chat, bro. So big up Curtis and Fran. Pepe is the only player who can create something out of nothing, in my opinion, but he's just too inconsistent. My yard name is Mr. Cleanup. Yo, big going over these yard names, man. But yeah.
Again, though, he is that, though. He just brings out moments. We've seen it the other day. He just brings out moments.
And he lifts you off your feet. And I think sometimes, listen, I love the fact what Arteta wants, that functioning like kind of robot that all goes together.
Yeah.
I just think sometimes you need that player that it's 0-0, you know, Saka's not quite getting the better of the fullback, and you bring on a Pepe who just does something a little bit off the cuff that, you know what I mean? But it's a shame. It's a shame.
It goes, you know, the crazy thing is, it's fizzling out the game, isn't it? How many
It
times
is
do you watch
massively.
Match of the Day and people you get excited? I can't
Yeah.
remember. Who do I look at? I look at Phil Foden. I get a little bit excited. Sancho at Dortmund, I get a little bit excited. Obviously, Messi, certain players, but there ain't many now where you look at it like you used to look at a Neymar and try daft things because they're told to do and play a certain way. Don't take people on.
Yeah.
The ball moves faster than the player, and you know,
Yeah.
you've been there, and managers have told you to stop doing it.
Yeah.
And he's one of those types of players. They're a dying breed. I mean, Eze and Sahar, they get you excited, especially Eze. I love him. You know what I mean? Proper ballers, mate. Proper. But you just don't see him in the game because entertainment is not what gets you results. And as a manager, he's like, well, you can entertain as much as you can ball juggle as much as you want, but can you pass a ball 5 yards or can you put the ball there? You know?
It's sad, that, isn't it? It's sad.
It is sad, yeah.
Manush is bigging you up. He said, this guy talks sense. First time hearing him. Has he got his own YouTube channel? His link is in the description. Click on it.
Big love.
Subscribe.
Big love.
Get back here, people. We break it down on here. You know what I mean? We break it down.
We're going deep. We go deep.
We're going deep, man. Listen, and like you said, because I think that's coming out of the game. I think now coaches are taking that out of you. I remember playing one time and a coach said, listen, you take more than 2 touches, mate, you're off. Well, you know what I mean? You're just going to have a bunch of robots if you
bunch
do
of
that.
robots. I remember going to sign for a team. I was going to sign for a team, right? And it was in League One at the time. And the manager where I'm at has come to me and he said, oh, friend, listen, so-and-so wants you. It's a decent move. However, I just need to tell you something. Check this. When you play on the right, if you go inside more than what he wants you to, he'll drag you. You have to run to the touchline every time with the ball. I said, well, what? What if it's not on? You have to keep running to the touchline. I'm like, what? So I said, I'm not signing for this guy. He would drag you if you went inside because you had to always go down the outside. I was like, nah, this is madness. And that's what some coaches are like. It's crazy.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's crazy, like.
And people don't understand sometimes how much a manager can ruin your game with the way he wants to play football. Because he can just ask you to do...
Pepe's a prime example. Pepe's game is ruined, and we get on his back because ultimately, what can he do except work hard? But he is ruining his game. But look, you go around the Premier League or any level, and you go and look at how many managers. For example, do you think Arteta is hindering Partey's game?
Oh, 100%.
There you go. We are nowhere near getting the Partey that we thought we were getting because the manager is putting a role on him to do something he can't. You could even argue it's the same as happening to Aubameyang.
Yeah.
You could even argue.
Oh, yeah.
Because it happens club after club, manager after manager. And then all of a sudden the manager changes and you go, oh, that player was doing this 2 weeks ago. All of a sudden now he looks like $1 million. Just because the manager said, listen, I can see, for example, Martinelli. For me, you go in and you see Martinelli, you say, right, Martinelli, he's quick, he's got desire, he likes to take people on. I'm going to try and use his assets the best that I can do. I'm not going to overcomplicate it for him. I'm going to say to Martinelli, get the ball, bun the fullback, go and do your thing. Another manager may come in and say, you know what? He's very, very quick. He's very, very honest. So I'm going to get him to do the dirty work. All of a sudden, everyone's like, well, he just keeps running back. He's not going forward.
Yeah.
You've been there. You've been there, mate. You've been there.
They use that asset in a different way, man. You know what I mean? I just work here. Big up, bro. Said there's a reason why Alexis didn't work under Pep. But under Wenger, he was a nightmare. You need a player to just do a mad thing from time to time. Sometimes, and fans, sometimes you just need that manager to say, listen, I can see your talent. I'm going to kind of give you a free rein. You do have to defend and stuff. But when you get the ball, express yourself, burn that defender, do whatever you need to do. When you hear that from a manager, your game's just going to go bang. When you're playing for that manager, listen, if I give the ball away, he's turning round, he's kicking bottles, he's swearing. you're playing on edge already. Next minute,
Fear.
you're not even playing your natural game. You're not even the
It's that
same
fear
player.
factor again. It's that fear factor. Look, and people make good points when we talk about Pepe. I know we're going back to Pepe at times, but Pepe, before the game even starts, he's thinking, I've got to do worldies today to even get a chance of playing next game.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, he thinks, doesn't matter what I do, I'm probably not going to play in the Premier League, so I'm just going to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Which is the wrong attitude, but it's a subconscious, it's a fear factor. You know, it happens. You know, how many times have you played when you give the ball away and you can't help but look at the bench and the manager does this? Doesn't he?
And next minute, there's a brother warming up, and you're like, oh no.
And you know your number's coming. And because he's been waiting for you to make that mistake. He's been waiting.
Yeah.
He's been talking to the assistant. Look at Curtis. Look at Curtis with them. I know those white and gold Ronaldinho boots that used to look.
You remember
look at
that,
Curtis with those listen, mate. He thinks he's Ronaldinho. Look at him. He's got his hair all braided up. Who does he think he is, Jim? Jim, have you had a look at him? Next minute, you give the ball away.
Never happened in our day, Jim. Never happened in our day.
Never happened in our day. White football boots, gold stitching. Next minute, you give the ball away. Jim, I've had enough. Get him off. You've been there. You've seen it. It happens, mate. It happens.
Oh, I'm telling you.
That's what happens with Pepe, mate. That's what happens with Pepe, mate.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And this guy, and he's putting up pictures with Gucci headbands. Arteta's going, listen, mate, I want him to run the channels. He's got a Gucci headband on.
You don't understand. It happens, mate. I remember getting the chrome R9s. I made my mum. My mum went, you could only get them at Harrods, I think. My mum was in London. I said, Mum, you got to get these chrome R9s with the lime green trim. I remember buying them, and the manager said, Barry Fry at the time, Barry Fry's old school, right?
Yeah.
He said, you're not playing in them. You're not playing in them. I said, what difference does it make it them? He said, you are not playing in them boots. You are going to bring attention to yourself. If you have a bad shot, the first thing people are going to say is, look at his boots. Look at his boots. Anyway, wore them, had a shocker. They're the ones, them bad boys. I remember wearing them, had a shocker, got dragged at half time. That was it, over. Boots finished, chrome's out the way.
No more chrome life, no.
I couldn't. He's like, you can't wear them. I was like, what? Why not? Got me off, mate. Baz, you're not Barry Fry's like.
Yeah. Old school, man.
That was it. Dragged at half time, mate. Tea all over me. No chrome boots out the window. Job done.
The thing is, Fran, I look at this, and I like even sometimes speak to Kevin Campbell about it, I'm like, does it make any difference? Like, if you're wearing chrome boots or not, you got blonde hair, you got a gold Lambo, does that affect your game? Because when you're scoring goals, no one cares about it.
No one cares. No one cares. If I put chromes on, I've got this thing. Is on subject. Does your boy have to wear black boots?
No, he doesn't,
Right. So I've got this thing about academies making kids wear black boots.
Which
now, when we were kids,
we was younger, innit?
Yeah, you only wore black boots. They weren't coloured boots until probably about 2000, maybe. Yeah, 99, right? Now, to make every kid wear black boots, I could get it's like a uniform thing. Like school uniform. Everyone's equality and all that. I'm the complete opposite, as in, like, I think people should be allowed to express themselves, like entrepreneurship, the way the world is, etc. You look good, you feel good, you play good. Some kids, some individuals like to be the standout kid. They thrive off that pressure. A Ronaldo, they like the attention. Yeah. So if a kid wants to wear, remember the pink Mercurials that came out?
Yeah.
Pink with a white tick. And I was like, you can't wear pink. Obviously, I wore pink. But I liked the fact that there was pressure on me because I was wearing pink boots. Yeah. I think you should be allowed to wear whatever colour boots you want.
Of course.
Like, you can't have remember you couldn't have patterns in your hair at school?
Yeah. Or lines in your eyebrow.
You couldn't have lines in your eyebrow. Like, you're just limiting people's creativity. Yeah. And we want creativity.
They're taking it out of the game, I'm telling
You're
you.
taking it out of the game. If a kid wants to wear pink boots, let him wear pink boots.
You just bet, you know what I mean? Look, you're gonna have to perform when you wear them, but wear them if you're
Wear
that
them.
player.
Yeah,
You
I
go to
can't.
a
And I
game,
speak,
yeah.
I speak. You know, Clarky and that. You know, Clark is
Yeah.
at Forest and does the
Yeah.
coaching at Forest. And I ask him, and Clark, you know, Clark is just like, listen, it is what it is, isn't it? I just get on with it. But
Yeah.
and it is what it is. But I think you're just taking the creativity out of individuals and people. And it's just, it's for me, it's a sad thing to see. I've got to be honest. It really is.
Man. Josh Shaw said, do you remember when every team had a winger who would take on fullbacks, Laurie Cunningham, John Barnes, John Solarco, young CR7, 100%. I just work here, said, Fran's killing me. I'm starting to feel bad about Wenger staying calm. I see your point. Bro, I'm telling you. Do you know what was interesting? I just want to bring the boots up because you got me reminiscing. This going to turn into also.
Oh, mate. Get the boots up.
I want people to understand what I was doing in these boots. These boots, yeah, I've actually looked for these boots because I lost them. I tried to buy them online. They were showing up at crazy prices.
Yeah.
I felt like I was playing in my slippers in my house.
Let me butt in.
Ronaldinho. Oh,
Let me butt in. So these boots community are the reason Curtis kept getting dropped.
Do you know what? I was good until about December. You know, when the pitches got a bit bobbly and I was like, yo, man, I need some Adidas World Cups with big studs. But when the pitches were nice, boy,
Pre-season.
you know what I was doing in these? Man, we're getting violated.
You know what I think's mad about boots?
Go on.
And I know people can relate to this in the chat. Whatever boot you're wearing, you try and mold your play to that boot.
Bro, 100%.
I remember when remember the red and black Cesks came out?
Oh, yeah.
About 2009, 2008, 2009. All of a sudden, I went from being up front to a 10. I thought I was Cess. You know what I mean? I went to Oxford thinking I was Cess Fabregas. Like, do you know what I mean?
Bro, listen. When man used to put them mercurials on when we was younger, you had to feel like Henri or R9 in them. If you put them on, you had to roll the socks above your knee. Thierry Henry, you know, I might even try and do the Henry finish, just finesse it in the bottom corner.
It's in your head. It's in your head. That's what, yeah. I can guarantee you people, you get some Puma Kings for Christmas and you are just going to kick the ball long. Forget 5-yard passes. You put some Puma Kings on. That's it. Elbows. You're smashing people. You're running in the Christmas tree. You're going to 2-foot the Christmas tree with them Puma Kings, mate. I'm telling you.
It's all bad. It's mentality, isn't it, man? It is mentality, man. It's crazy. Well, listen, just back to Arsenal. I love the reminiscing, but hey, big up everyone in the chat. We got 1,400 in here. Make sure you like.
Big shout out.
Get 1,000 likes. Go and subscribe to Fran. I want to see Fran's numbers up when I come off here. And we'll be doing lots more content in 2022. We'll get organized and get things sorted. Arsenal, 4th in the league, semi-final. Is it a false dawn or are we genuinely making progress?
It's, excuse me, it's, you don't want to sound negative and you also don't want to convince yourself to be negative, but then you're trying to be balanced. I think if most people are honest, they are expecting us to fall off a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay? If we're honest. And I'm no different. I am expecting us to fall off a little bit. And that's probably my head talking here. My heart is saying, yo, there's no reason why we can't still be in the top 4 in another 2-3 months. But knowing the game, being in the game for so long, I do think things are going to turn, things are going to sway for us, against us. And a lot's gone for us recently. I do think that's going to catch up with us a little bit. I really do. That's my head talking, do you know what I mean? I really, really do.
And you make a great point. We're in a good position. So, you know, the fan in you doesn't want to say anything negative because you're like, why should I? We're 4th in the semi-final. But that realist in you says, I'm still not too sure. I think with me, I look at it and I think, I feel like now we can beat all the teams kind of below us kind of thing. Maybe not directly, but, you know, like all the bottom half and stuff. I just still look at it and think, if we're playing Man City, if we're playing Chelsea, we're playing Liverpool, we're still not quite ready to beat those teams like convincingly yet. So I think we've made progress, but I still think there's flaws in our game. Lacazette, the last few games, has missed good chances. You need him scoring. Still think we have a problem in midfield next to
Yeah.
Partey. There's still one or two things that need to adjust. I think they need to go into the market in January.
We talk about and we get caught up in this, how we're going to do against the top three dogs. Do we really need to do anything against the top three dogs to still finish in a very, very good position in the league? If we take care of business around us and deal with everyone below us, which, let's be honest, I think we're at a position now where we can clearly say we're going to win more points than we're going to drop against the bottom half of the table.
Yeah.
I think the most important thing is your West Ham, your Leicester, your Spurs, even maybe a Villa, even maybe a Wolves, because Wolves are not far beyond. I think we've just got to be the best at. We got to take points off them. And what happens with the top three? Because most people don't do anything against the top three, do they? You might nick something.
Point here
But I think that's where we need to concentrate on. Are we good enough? Are we in a situation now, and are we good enough to feel confident when we play? Even though we did well against West Ham, I thought they were poor, but I thought we did well. I'm not going to take it away. I thought we did well. They had injuries. If West Ham are full strength, if Spurs are full strength, if, United are full strength, are we good enough to still beat those teams? I think that's the question we need to ask ourselves. And at the minute, we have done that. But when everyone's fit and everyone's, what do you think? I'm putting the question to you. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm still in between. You know what I mean?
I think it's one of them, innit? It's like, I kind of feel like we've got there because other teams have kind of slipped out at the same time, which happens sometimes in sport. You pounce on someone's. I think if United had been at it, they would be in that top four position with the quality that they've got. Probably the Ollie tax has opened that top four position up. I think our performances have to match the results. I look at Arsenal, I think, right, we're in a great position. We've picked up quite a few good results. I still haven't seen enough really good performances, because I think when you're playing well and winning, you can maintain that over a longer period of time. You kind of find your groove and you can go on a run and get there. Where I still think with Arsenal, I watch a lot of games and I'm like, but we get the win kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of people are not convinced, because it's like, it seems like it's just, which is football, by the way, in sports, and everyone could have an argument. That kind of happens every day, Fran. Kurt, you know what I mean? So I get where people say that, but that does happen quite a lot, where people have injuries and they're out of form, and Antonio didn't score for 2 months and he can't hit a barn door now. And I get all that, because that's sports. But for some reason, I don't know, I get this feeling that when we go on a run, everything works out perfectly for us. The stars align, do you know what I mean? And then it convinces me that, oh, well, here we go. Something's going to happen. I remember when Leicester won the league, and for half the season, everyone was saying, oh, well, they're going to drop off. They're going to drop off. Yeah. Other teams are going to get better. And no one ever did. That could be this season. Man United might not get any better. West Ham might fall off a cliff. Spurs might have a little rally and then they may get found out. That could happen this year. We could still get top four, because it doesn't necessarily mean that these other teams, things are going to turn for them.
Yeah.
Do you know?
No, spot on.
So there's always that argument, but I just think because people are not convinced, we're kind of expecting, which is maybe like you say, it's negative. Maybe we are negative. Maybe, do you know what I mean?
I think. Listen, I think Arsenal have kind of programmed fans to feel like that. I think to just jump on your high horse and go, oh my God, we're brilliant, we're top four, I think that's a little bit naive. I think you've got to look here and go, do you know what? I really hope we get top four. We've got a chance. What I think is great is that we've got a chance.
Yeah.
I
didn't think we'd have a chance.
No.
Come Christmas,
I didn't think we'd be anywhere near it.
No. I didn't think we'd be anywhere near it. No.
You know what I
Gotta be
mean? I
honest.
thought if Ronaldo goes on a run, United will run away, Lukaku at Chelsea. But they've slowed down, and obviously with the virus and stuff like that. I mean, just some breaking news now. Obviously, Wolves v Watford has been called off on Boxing Day due to the virus. And it's saying not good news for Arsenal, who face Wolves on December the 28th, just 48 hours after the Norwich game. So Wolves, that game may not go ahead if Wolves' situation doesn't change. So, you know, it's a crazy season, isn't it? You know, teams are going to have fixture congestion. You're going to need the luck of the draw to get these games in.
Excuse me. The thing for me is we had that season where obviously I wasn't in the UK then, but I was watching it, and that season where there was no fans in the ground, and it felt like a reserve league game, reserves, didn't it?
Yeah.
There's no atmosphere. The players weren't really going in their stride, etc. This is how quickly things can change. If all of a sudden there's this congestion of games, or we get, by the way, we're probably the only team that's not been hit with COVID yet. If we get hit with COVID, all these things, if fans are not allowed back in the stadium, you've seen the Emirates the last 4 or 5 games. It's banging. That makes the players perform. If those fans go, how do the players react? Some players love crowds. There's so many things that can happen against you. That's why I think we're not getting ahead of ourselves and get really, really excited. It's the same for everyone, by the way. But I think as Arsenal fans, that's why when I see people saying it's a top 4, back 4, and our youngsters are going to be the best youngsters in the world, and I think people have been obviously smoking too much herbs or something because we need to be balanced. But like you say, we need to enjoy the fact that we are and where we are, and we have an opportunity to do something, which is down to the players and the manager.
Yeah.
They do have an opportunity.
Do you know what? I've just read more of that story, actually, so forgive me. It actually says that the game was called off because of Watford, not Wolves. And the game should be played against Wolves, but Wolves won't have played since December the 19th, whereas we'll be playing on the 26th. So I think they were saying the bad news is that they will have had a 1 week break.
Rest.
We will have played 2 days before. So, yeah, forgive me, the game should be on. But just quickly, and Snake Eye saying weekly show. Trust me, it's coming. 2022, we're going to get,
we've been saying it for about...
Don't worry about it.
We're doing it.
Like Aubameyang, innit? Don't worry, Gaffer. I'll be there. I'm a bit late, but I'll be there.
Listen, we can't be doing them late things. We should call it Aubameyang.
We call it the late show. You know,
the late
show with Fran and Kurt. You know, just there quickly, you were saying about the top 3, and I understand what you're saying. You know, we can still kind of do something without doing much against them. But do we have to kind of say, do you know what? I see these teams drop points against other teams, but when we play them, for some reason, these teams almost look unplayable. And is it because we're naive against them? Do we have to be a bit more ambitious that, you know what, if we are playing Chelsea, we should be able to challenge, and if they're not quite at it, we should be able to beat them.
I think that's where the lack of experience comes in. When I look at us and I look at Chelsea, for example, you know, last night or whatever it was, play a depleted team at times and brush a physical, stubborn Brentford team. I look at us and I think we can't do that. We don't have that depth. So when we go and play against the Chelsea, I just think we're a little, like I say, a little bit naive. When we go in front, how can we manage the game? We don't really have the personnel to manage games. Don't get me wrong. We were excellent at managing the game against West Ham. I got to admit, we were excellent. And as much as Ødegaard is not experienced age-wise, footballing-wise, this kid's very, very experienced. But also he's not in a position in the game at times where they can slow the game and increase the speed and the tempo of the game. So I think that's why we need that midfielder. I mean, I'm disappointed we didn't get Neves. I think he would have been one of those perfect opportunities for me to slow the game and then increase the pace. But there's plenty of midfielders in the world of football. It's the most common position. So I think we will add in January. And then it could be very, very different if we add the right personnel. You could see a very, very different and a very, very interesting team if we get the right personnel in January. 100%.
I mean, today we're being linked to Renato Sanches again. His agent says managers told him if a club makes an offer that they deem acceptable, they'll let him go. What do you make of Renato Sanches? He came here at 19, struggled at Swansea. He obviously got the big move to Bayern. He's kind of rebuilt his career in the French league, won the French league, in the Portuguese team. Would you give him a chance?
Well, he's a Prem player. He's Prem, isn't he? The way he's built, the way he plays, he's aggressive. He's kind of like no nonsense. He likes to get in your face. So he's a Prem style player. The only problem that we're ever going to have is the injuries. The injuries. How's he going to be? Listen, he could come and not get injured. But I think the way that he plays is probably one of the reasons that he gets quite a lot of muscle injuries.
Yeah.
He seems to be very explosive, up and down. It's one of those. Do you take the risk? But then on the flip side, you could get a player who's never been injured, like Partey, and he could,
break down. Yeah,
he could be breaking down every 2 minutes. Whereas we don't know with Renato Sanches, do we? Listen, is he good enough? 100%. The kid's talented. Has he got a desire? 100%. It's just his injuries. It's just the injuries. And if we sign him, then everyone will just throw it straight back in his face and say, well, it's not like you didn't know about the injuries. So if he doesn't take the risk, you're never going to know. And if he does take the risk, it could end up going against him. So it's one of those, isn't it? Would you take the risk? If you're Gaffer, do you take the risk? Or do you go for other options?
If I was making a list, I would have him on the list so he wouldn't be at the top.
Okay.
If I couldn't get option 1, 2, 3, and it's like, you know what? He's better than what we've got, and I can't get the priorities, I would take a chance on him. But yeah, he wouldn't be my main target because of the injury record. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
He's got the talent.
And we have a Tierney, we have a Partey. We don't need another candy floss player. That's the only problem.
But these players, like you said, these men are brick walls, and they come to Arsenal and they start, melting. Yeah. So I don't know. I just don't know. Big up to everyone in the chat still, and make sure you like and subscribe, and go and subscribe to Fran as well. Links in the description. Big up Snake Eyes. Thank you for your kind donation, bro. He said, big up the legends. Merry Xmas and Happy New Year to Big C and Fran. Love Green Mind. Get well, bro. Love to you and the family. Please lick the like button. Subscribe to FFTV and Green Mind. Big up to Snake Eyes.
Yeah, good support, Snake Eyes. Always watching the videos in that. Big shout outs. Big shout out. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, before we round up, just moving forward, obviously AFCON starts in 2 weeks, so we're going to have 4 players away. The Aubameyang situation will probably unfold over the next few weeks. What would you like to see Arsenal do in the January transfer window to give them, a good chance?
Well, it's you're going to get held to ransom in January transfer window. As you know, you're going to get held to ransom. You do have the odd big deal go through. They're going to know we're desperate for a centre forward, especially if Aubameyang, goes on his holidays. Yeah. Now, they know we need a centre midfielder. Now, the good thing about centre midfielders, there's so many available. It's the number one position where there's just so many in the world of football. Everyone wants to be a centre midfielder. There's loads on the market, and you'll get a decent one for a decent price. So definitely a centre midfielder, a decent one, and then a good backup, because I don't think we have a good backup one. Maitland-Niles and Lokonga, for the level that I want to be at, they're not ready yet. They're not good enough yet for the level that I want to be at. Now, that could be different from many other fans. So I think maybe 2 centre midfielders and a striker who's going to come in and really, really get passion and really, really get people off their seats. People off the seat. A Dominic Calvert-Lewin for me is a type of centre forward that I think suits Arteta. I can now understand why they wanted Tammy Abrahams. I didn't want him nowhere near the club, but I get why they wanted him. Because he's that type of centre forward that he needs. Lacazette comes in too far deep, can't get back in the box because he's not quick enough. So if a Saka and a Martinelli don't make the runs in behind, you've got Greenwood, we're dreaming Greenwood.
He's not coming.
I mean, Greenwood's, for me, absolutely ridiculous. But I think we need a centre. If we can get a Dominic Calvert-Lewin and then, keep in that top 4 And then, listen, go and throw the world at Greenwood and a midfielder. All of a sudden, we're looking serious, just like that. But
the funny thing is, I look at Calvert-Lewin. I think we could get him. You know,
I think we could get him now.
Everton are struggling. Managers being linked with the sack. You know, he's World Cup next year. Move to Arsenal would do all sorts for his career.
And it's a good move for him. It's a big move.
Yeah.
You know, at one stage I was like, why would he come when we're struggling? But, you know, we forget we're Arsenal Football Club. So you're always going to have that clout. All of a sudden, it gets him even more recognition in the England squad. And his work rate and desire, he would quickly get the Emirates faithful back on his side. Quickly. Because he's an honest kid. He's a straight down the middle honest kid. He'll run through brick walls for you. You know, and what I like about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, put the ball in the 6-yard box. He will fight tooth and nail to get on the end of it. You've seen his goals. He's brave. So he may not be the frills.
The only issue with Calvert-Lewin seems to, again, getting injured a lot at the moment. Muscular injuries as well.
Yeah. But again, is it the way he plays? Puts his head where it hurts, don't he?
Yeah.
You know? Puts his head where it hurts. So it's interesting. I can understand why people don't want him. People want... For example, Vlahovic, I can't see Vlahovic coming here. He's going to have the pick of the bunch, isn't he?
No, he's not coming here. Not unless we're in the Champions League and for a fortune at him, he's going elsewhere.
Yeah. And again, do you want to do that? We have a history of throwing fortunes at players just to get them. And then they lose desire.
Yeah.
You know? It's hard work. Listen, if we was all manager, we'd have all the answers. But, you know, it's hard work.
It's crazy. Like you said, Vlahovic, I think we'd struggle. Osimhen, Napoli paid 70 or 60, so they're going to want 80, 90. This Jonathan David's being linked. You know, he's had a good year in France. But, you know, sometimes you need to see a bit more of them. Pepe had an unbelievable year in France.
Yeah.
And that hasn't worked out.
What about Richarlison? A lot of people are saying Richarlison. What do you think about Richarlison?
I just think Richarlison's personality would not go one bit with Mikel Arteta. Like, not one bit. No. He's moody. He's got an attitude. You know, he's a good player, but I just don't think Arteta...
Oh, he'd be finished, mate. 2 months.
That's toxic. I'm telling you, he'd be saying, yeah, Richarlison, mate, he's turned up late. We're going to have to get rid of him, you know. No, I couldn't see it. I think I actually think they'll go for Calvert-Lewin. I'm hearing a lot of links about it, and I think they could get him.
I'll try and find out. I'll speak to Mace. I'll say, Mace, have you heard anything?
Have a word.
Yeah.
Have a word. Let us know. But listen, Fran, really appreciate you coming on. Like I said, people, links in the description, so just click on that. And in fact, it's in the title, even easier. Click on the title, go and subscribe. Elliot saying Curtis and Fran once a week, 2022. Quote it, people. Quote it.
We're doing it. We're going to do it. Yeah.
We've
spoke about a few things. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to get that sorted. So Craig's been asking if you're back on your channel tomorrow. I haven't ignored you. Are you on
tomorrow? Yeah. A quick was Christmas Eve, innit? So we'll have a quick one tomorrow, Christmas Eve. Wish everyone, obviously, a Merry Christmas. Whether you celebrate it or not, you know, spend time with the family and gratitude. That's the main thing. So, you know, I'll be on tomorrow.
Big up to the community. Big up to Fran. And I'll be on tomorrow briefly. And then, we'll have the watch along for Norwich. So, make sure you go and check out Fran tomorrow. Subscribe, like the video. Big up, Fran, for coming on. Appreciate your time, bro.
No, thanks for having me, bro. Thanks for having me, man.
We'll definitely get the show sorted in the new year, people. The Late Show. I think we should actually call it The Late Show.
We should have to call it The Late Show. We might have to have we might have to have a little tipple as well. Just have a few brandies on The Late Show and that. Do you know what I mean?
Come over, a red stripe, you know.
Red stripe.
Oh, man. But enjoy your day, people. And I'll be back tomorrow, Christmas